A refugees welcome open border activist invited an African migrant to stay in her home. What could possibly go wrong? Estebali's courtesan started with the best of intentions.
Bueno, yo le conocí, yo estoy en una plataforma que ayudamos a personas inmigrantes y refugiadas.
She really did commit to the cause.
Entonces acogemos en nuestra casa a chicos que están en situación de calle y, por ejemplo, en mi caso, pues venían a dormir al sofá.
A middle-aged woman inviting random African boys to sleep on a sofa. Look, she just wanted to help.
Entonces, esta persona había estado en casa de unos compañeros durante un mes. Yo estaba buscando un inquilino, él buscaba habitación, me dijeron que no habían tenido ningún problema con él.
Yeah, he's a great guy. We've had absolutely no problems with him. Honestly.
Y por eso le cogí.
It was then that her nightmare began.
¿No ves? Otra vez las luces encendidas. He estado 15 minutos fuera.
House is a total pigsty.
Todos los días. La casa. Todo encendido.
There's been a little cultural enrichment in the bathroom.
Si quiero utilizar el baño o ducharme, esto es con lo que me encuentro cada día.
He hates her dog and has zero respect for her property.
Esta es la silla que tiene para estudiar. Este es el carrito de mi perra que lo odia a muerte. Pero a muerte. Porque mirad cómo lo come. Así trata mis cosas.
And suffice to say, doesn't appear very grateful. But it gets worse.
Pues mira, él desde que se levantaba hasta que se acostaba, su único objetivo era molestarme. Entonces, por ejemplo, a las 12 de la noche se levantaba al baño y dejaba las luces encendidas. Tenía que levantarme a apagarlas. A las 2 de la madrugada, lo mismo, me tenía que levantar a apagarlas. A las 6 de la mañana, él se levantaba, ponía música, ponía un montón de alarmas con el móvil, ponía todas las luces encendidas, abría la ventana.
Just an utter cacophony of endless noise and disruption.
Todo, poniendo la televisión hasta las 12 de la noche a tope para que no pueda dormir. Llevo, he estado más o menos un año durmiendo 3 horas al día.
It was at this point that you might think she'd be doubting diversity's our greatest strength, but it gets worse again.
Una vez llegué a casa, en el comedor, pues en la sala, yo me senté a cenar, él estaba con el portátil y estaba viendo porno.
Had to blur it, but you can take a wild guess at what he was watching on his laptop. This went on for an entire year, and because of her pathological altruism, she endured it.
Esto lo hace para sacar de tus casillas, para intentar que te vayas, para acampar a sus anchas en la casa, o esto, ¿por qué lo hace? ¿No tiene suficiente?
Y son 11 meses y no se cansa.
But it gets worse again, having acknowledged that she literally invited a psycho into her home.
Yo estoy convencida que es un psicópata.
Estebali's came up with a smart idea to fix the situation. Bring in another migrant to talk to the unwanted tenant and just convince him to be reasonable. Yeah, that went well. The unwanted tenant tried to bite the other migrant's face off. I never thought leopards would eat my face, sobs woman who voted for the leopards eating people's faces party. He then harassed her, abused her with nasty insults, and assaulted a female friend who had visited the house in an attempt to mediate. Suffering a nervous breakdown, her life had become a living hell.
Bueno, tengo psicólogo desde hace un mes o así.
When social services ignored her plea,
fui a la casa de la mujer y claro, como todo este tema no es violencia de género, no es mi pareja, pues en ningún sitio me han ayudado.
Estebali's finally contacted the police, only to be told that squatters have rights and that she'd have to continue to pay for him to live there. But don't go away, because I'll tell you what we know about what happened in the end. This all happened in Spain, which just handed legal status to 500,000 undocumented migrants, bypassing Parliament entirely to do it. As Ground News' biased coverage shows, left-leaning outlets like IB Times are framing this as an act of economic necessity. PM Pedro Sanchez calling it an act of justice for people Spain needs to sustain its ageing workforce. Meanwhile, right-leaning outlets like Le Figaro are calling it a betrayal and a catastrophe for all of Europe, with the conservative opposition in Spain labelling it outright treason and vowing to challenge it in court. The right frames this as a government bypassing democratic checks to push through an unpopular policy. This is why I use Ground News. They're the only app showing me the full picture on the stories that actually matter, by pulling coverage from across the political spectrum and showing you each source's political lean and financial backing, you stop reacting to headlines and start understanding what's actually going on. Try it for yourself at ground.news/PJW via the link below, or scan the QR code on screen. Ground News cuts through the noise. Instead of drowning in takes trying to separate fact from spin, they give you the full story in one clean format. The best part? Ground News isn't a new habit to build. It's just a smarter version of the scrolling you're already doing. One look at their blind spot feed and you'll see how many outlets are covering this Spain story, and which ones aren't touching it at all. I've never felt more in control of what I actually believe. Ground News has become a daily essential for me, and I got my viewers 40% off the same unlimited Vantage plan I use. Just go to ground.news/PJW or scan the QR code on screen. That's just $5 a month to stop being told what to think. And if you've got that one friend who's going to have very strong opinions on Spain's immigration policy based entirely on one biased article, save yourself the argument and send the link instead. Ground News is independently owned and subscriber funded. Their only job is to hold the media accountable. Join that fight at ground.news/PJW. She desperately launched a petition complaining the migrant squatter had more rights than her, a Spanish citizen. Then the migrant changed the locks, and she was forced to leave entirely and sleep on her brother's couch. Taunting her further, he even brought in garbage from the street and sent her videos of a trashed apartment. Belize had been politically active for years, helping African migrants in their own countries. Yeah, probably should have left it at that. She also previously posted this on Facebook, defending African migrants for illegally invading Spain, while also legitimizing illegal boat migration on the basis that European countries import minerals and food from Africa. But get this. Even after everything she went through, Belize still refused to divulge the migrant's country of origin to the media because she doesn't want to contribute to existing racism. You knew it was coming. And any shred of sympathy I had for her just vanished. I mean, pick your parable, because there are many. Orcs welcome a few years later. We don't feel safe. A campaigner for Podemos, the far-left ruling party that just legalised 500,000 illegals. Belize is the living embodiment of you reap what you sow. She literally got what she voted for. Yeah, you know all those viral videos where left-wing pro-mass migration people are asked if they want to house one in their own home?
We're from Homes for Humanity. Channel migrants can't move in. We're just trying to see if people can actually take these homes. Sign people up so people can take channel migrants.
Don't think we're doing this.
Starting to make a whole lot more sense. So what happened in the end? Did she manage to get him evicted? Did she get her home back? Nobody really knows. The eviction process dragged on for months and months. Kick him out, she said. I'd love to, but it could take years before they evict him. And there's been no mention whatsoever of her plight in media coverage since. She's also made no further mention of it on her Facebook page or petition, which is still active. So presumably the unwelcome guest is still holed up in her apartment. I mean, imagine the smell. You don't think she'll be repeating that little stunt ever again? Estebilez's story serves as a microcosm for the whole country. Spain's socialist government having regularized 500,000 illegals, with more to follow, causing a functional collapse of social services across Madrid. While elderly Spaniards are being forced to camp homeless on the street, the new arrivals are literally trying to break into Spaniards' homes.
Que alguien llame a la policía. Por favor, llamad a la policía. Los estoy grabando. Esto es propiedad privada. No puedes estar ahí bajo ningún concepto. Tú,
Knowing the system will allow them to squat there for years and years. With many citizens now forced to fork out huge amounts to private security firms to try to evict them. Unfortunately for Europe as a whole, until mass deportations happen, there isn't enough private security in the world to make a dent on what our political elites have invited in.